that process down later. I'll write that segment of stuff down later. Well, then this next SOP, Shop Owners Panel, is for you. In November, we're tackling the process documentation. We're tackling how to capture what's in your head so that the shop keeps moving even when you're not there. And if you're overwhelmed by the idea of writing everything possible that happens in your shop down on a piece of paper, you're not alone. And so we're also going to be talking about where to begin. And you know what? A lot of times with these types of things, taking one step forward is the best thing for you. So where to begin is going to be part of that November conversation that's coming up on the Shop Owners Panel. You're not going to want to miss it on the Garage Grit podcast. We're bringing together owners who have built documentation systems from scratch, who've gone from chaos to clarity, who can show you exactly where to start. And here's the thing. Most shops don't lose time on the lift. They lose time in between steps, when the next person can't see what to do next or how to do it. The November panel is going to help you fix that. And here's what I'm hoping for, actually. With this process documentation, wouldn't it be great if you could take, say, I don't know, an extended weekend or maybe a Friday off without the shop going to wherever in the handbasket? Speaking of going to bad places, I know a lot of you aren't excited about voting. That's possible. I don't care. Go vote. Go find out. Go to Google first. Do a search for finding out where your local ballot is or what the information is on the ballot. Find out a little bit about the candidates who are on the ballot. Go vote. You're an auto repair shop owner. As an auto repair shop owner, as a small business owner, the local elections that are happening across the country today are of vital importance. It's going to determine whether or not you can put a sign out front, update your property, add another bay, maybe buy another shop down the street. All of these things, the zoning, the issues, all of these things, the sign ordinances, the regulations, they're all coming into play today. So you need to do some quick research. You need to make the time. It is worth your time investment. I've heard in some places there's not a lot to vote. There's not a lot of people to vote, not a lot of people on the ballot. And I'm not familiar with every single state out there on all the different rules and regulations. Go do a Google search, find out for yourself, make that happen, okay? Because the local elections matter. And if you're in Pennsylvania, vote no, please. I usually don't tell people how to vote, but it is time for us to actually get some sense back things. Vote no for the retention of the judges. You know what? If you're in Jersey, make sure you go vote. You're in Virginia, go vote for the governor's races. If you're in New York City particularly, go vote. Pay attention to what's going on and vote for people who are trying to, well, as in the last panel pointed out, maybe common sense isn't actually a thing, but maybe it's business sense. Vote for people who are going to not inhibit and not stop small businesses from moving forward and advancing. All right. And so back to the PA thing, as far as judges, they voted for a lot of they actually overruled the state legislature when it came to the COVID mandates. Now, I don't know if you were for that or against it or how you felt about that, but it hurt a lot of small businesses. While they kept the Walmarts and the large chains open. So maybe it's time for some newer people in there. And that's kind of was my thought process on that. So, all right. Sorry to riff too long about particular politics. I don't know what state you're hailing in from. Why don't you let me know that in the chat, in the comments? And also, if you don't mind, brag. If you've already voted, brag about it. Tell me I voted. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to be confident that the small business owners are participating in the process. And that's that. All right. Let's move on to why you're here. If you're new to this streaming session, then this is what we do on Tuesdays here at the Garage Grit Live. I'm Brad Hurlock, your host of the Garage Grit podcast, also a co-founder of AA Shop Marketing. We take what's happening inside real shops, break it down, and turn it into action. These systems in the chat, type in systems in the chat if your shop could use some more, clarity on the communications or the documentation process. Okay. This week on the Garage Grit podcast, two conversations stood out to me, both about transition, leadership, and building trust. First, there was Alex Skander of Skander Tire in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he joined me for episode 47. He took over his family's tire business and learned kind of the hard way that growth exposes blind spots. He realized that when his team started to performing the DVIs without telling customers first, it just looked and felt like an aggressive upsell. A mentor spotted it, just by reading his Google reviews. And that's how Alex learned to communicate on every inspection before even touching the car. He said, "We thought we were helping, but if you don't tell them what you're doing, they feel invaded." That's just one adjustment that rebuilt customer trust almost overnight for them. Alex also shared how he created a, a role to stop the chaos between service writers and techs. 15 bays, 2 road service trucks, and nobody knew which car was in which bay until he put a single traffic controller basically in place. It's a perfect example of what happens when process catches up to growth. Next, we chatted on episode 48 with Tim Shaffer of Davenport, Iowa. He runs Dale's Auto Service as well as Level Auto Shop Consulting, Level 6 Auto Shop Consulting. Tim talked about taking over the shop from his dad and turning the family friction into structure. He's built SOPs for phone calls, drop-offs, DVI communication, not to replace people, but to make every customer experience consistent. He said, if it doesn't have to be fancy. Start with the 80% of what happens 80% of the time. And that's how you scale without losing your sanity. Both Alex and Tim reminded us that systems aren't bureaucracy, they're actually freedom. And it's how you hand the keys to somebody else and still sleep at night. I really appreciated Tim's story, and as far as, so go listen to that episode as well, and check out Level 6 Consulting, because I think especially if you are trying to wrestle with that family friction, it might be nice to talk to a coach who has also gone through that process. So if you're trying to figure out what to do with marketing as far as what your next steps are, then I want you to go out to aashopmarketing.com, learn a little bit about the sponsor of this podcast and this live stream. And if you want to just know what your next step might be, maybe you don't want to do the research, maybe you just want to have some information handed to you, we're happy to help. Just like with the podcast, as with the company of AA Shop Marketing, we're here to help. So you can get your help at addi.me/jumpstart, addi.me/jumpstart. So, how is your shops documenting daily routines on a day-to-day basis? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Drop your answer. And while we're talking, let's actually do our new thing of this weekly kind of marketing checkup. Let's see. Tell me in the chat, but also tell me, just kind of sending me an email or a Facebook message on how when you introduced DVIs, how much documenting did you have to do? And as far as the marketing side of Health Check goes, are some of that communication, is that communication being referenced in your reviews? Are they just clicking 5 stars, or are they leaving comments like, these guys are honest, or these guys helped me keep my car on the road, or I love their DVIs? I'm just curious to know what your customers are saying about you, either on social media or in your reviews that they leave on your Google profile in regards to your DVI and your process and procedures. The other thing I encourage you to do from time to time is, so one of the things that we struggle with here at AA Shop Marketing sometimes is when a shop doesn't have good processes in place to handle the phone calls. And you end up hearing things like, yeah, we can't take on any more customers for 3 more weeks. Well, we can schedule you then, as opposed to actually listening to the customer's needs. It needs to start being about the customer and not being about your schedule. And so here's my marketing check for you: is I can increase the calls to your shop at AA Shop Marketing, but if you're not able to convert those calls into customers, and so my marketing health check tip for you today is specifically is to go listen in on some of those calls. Do you have the means or the mechanism to be able to do that? Maybe if you're using local service ads, that's one easy way to do it. There are plenty of systems and software applications out there that you should be able to listen to the inbound calls if you're using a VoIP-based system. If not, let me know and I can try to point you in the right direction of somebody that actually can get you that type of technology. But listen in on how your service reps are answering the phones and how they are responding to new inbound customers. When you're talking to your customers, make sure you're going to tell them what you're going to do before you actually do it. And if you're not, as Alex learned kind of the hard way, it's going to show up in your reviews. So again, the next marketing tip for you is to go back to the reviews and see if there's any commonalities of the conversations that are being had. If there's any themes with some of the messaging, and see if that's an opportunity for you to kind of dial in your process. This week, we looked at the future of shop systems, the lessons learned from two owners who lived it, and how marketing starts inside your own process. But remember, I'm not a coach, I'm a digital marketing guy. And so our focus on at AA Shop Marketing is increasing the number of calls to you, increasing the visibility of your shop to your community, to your target audience, and then getting them to actually be prompted to call you and schedule an appointment with you. But if your stuff is a mess on the inside, it's going to be difficult to make that conversion. And so my recommendation is fix both at the same time. But what needs to be fixed from the marketing side, I can help you with by going to addy.me/jumpstart. But what needs to be fixed on the coaching side, well, then maybe that's an opportunity for you to reach out to Tim or some of the many other coaches that we've had on this podcast and see how they might be able to kind of point you in the right direction. If you want to be on a future panel, go to addy.me/join panel, addi.me join panel /join panel, and let us know not only that you want to join, but maybe what topic you'd like to hear about. And I hope to hear from you soon. Let's grow stronger together.